I matched with this one guy named Steve on Tinder. I wasn't looking for anything serious or a hookup or anything of that nature. Maybe friends, I guess. I don't know, I was just bored. That was really it. I thought he seemed cool because we had similar interests in music, style, clothes, and etc. I started talking to him, and only after a few hours, he got my Snapchat and started messaging me there. He started asking if I wanted to hang out later that night. I didn't reply for maybe 30 minutes or so, and that's when he started sending me multiple messages at once, without a response from me first. He sent me a question mark, and then 15 minutes later, he sent another message that said hello with a question mark. I don't like when people do that, and it gives kind of a red flag to me, especially when it's someone you have never met before online. I then started ignoring him altogether because it made me a little uncomfortable. In my experience, when a guy does that and it's someone that you've never met, they're usually very needy and sometimes controlling. So I steered myself away and didn't think much of it. I was out on a walk with my dog at a nearby park that I usually take him to a few times a week. I live in an apartment, so I like to make sure he really gets the exercise he deserves. We took a short break by this bench where I sat down for a few minutes, just enjoying the view, and relaxing out in the nice spring weather for a moment, appreciating nature. Maybe after 10 minutes of sitting there, a random guy starts running my way. Emily, hey, is that you? It's me, Steve. I was just wondering what you were up to. Nice to meet you. What a coincidence. We just ran into each other, he said. Yeah, I said with a concerned look on my face. I started panicking because I knew something was wrong. This didn't feel like a coincidence. It didn't take long before I realized that he wasn't even the guy in the pictures. He had been catfishing me. That immediately sent a shiver down my spine, and I knew I was in for trouble. Then I remembered I had my Snapchat location turned on to all my friends. I forgot that I turned it on months ago to test something, and I forgot to turn it back off, apparently. This man was literally stalking me. He slowly started to harass me more and more, as he knew I was getting more frustrated and disinterested in him and what he was asking me by the second. At first, it was by asking if I still wanted to hang out. I ended up telling him to leave me alone and that he was scaring me. It didn't take long before he started yelling at me. I was honestly shook, and at this point, I was in fight or flight mode. My dog started barking at him in order of an attempt to protect me. He backed up just a bit, but continued harassing me with his words. He began saying some very disgusting things that I don't care to even share right now. Just know they were really inappropriate and horrible things that you should never say to someone. Thankfully, some old man who was jogging by recognized I was being harassed and he scared him off. I'm so thankful for that man, because I don't know what else would have happened had someone not stepped in and intervened. The guy took off, and I've never heard from him since, and I obviously blocked him on everything. I'm still on edge, and sometimes I worry I will run into him when I'm alone or something. Please just be careful who you talk to on the internet. This could happen anywhere, at any time. There are weirdos out there everywhere. This story is about my ex boyfriend that started stalking me after our breakup. I don't really feel comfortable with sharing his name, just for safety reasons. We'd already been friends for a few years when we started dating my junior year of high school. After we started dating, it didn't take long at all for him to show his true colors. It was like a complete 360. He was a totally different person and not the nice guy I knew at all. He would go through my phone constantly. Every day it seemed he would snatch it out of my hands and read through all my personal stuff because of his own insecurities. I never once gave him a reason to worry about that sort of thing. I was always honest and loyal. I've been wanting to get out of this relationship pretty much ever since it started. Every time I would try to end things, he would guilt trip me and tell me that he would change. He would even go as far as lie to me about going to therapy and taking meds that were prescribed to him for his anger problems. It was constant lying and manipulative behavior from him. He would continuously accuse me of cheating the next day, though, or sometimes even hours after telling me he would change. He would cuss at me, call me names, threaten suicide, and even threaten to physically harm me on a few separate occasions. He wasn't on drugs that I knew of, and to be completely honest, we were never really that close in our relationship, so I don't know what even sparked it in him to act like that, or why he thought it was acceptable. Finally, by my senior year, I was so done with him, I finally decided to break up with him. Yes, just like I thought it would, it made everything worse. Way, way worse. I thought he was crazy then, But holy smokes, I didn't even know human beings were capable of being this evil. I changed my phone number and I moved 45 minutes away with my best friend into a new apartment that we shared together. I was feeling hopeful and happy to finally be away from him. Within only a few days, he would randomly just show up where I was: the movie theater, the tennis court, and restaurants we have never even been to before. He would always just try to talk to me, but I would always just leave immediately and tell him I was busy. He would get furious when he saw me with another guy, no matter who it was. It could have been my cousin and he still would have lost his mind. Still to this day, I don't know how he knew where I was at all those times. It was really creepy, but he swore it was coincidental. A few months later, I moved off to college about an hour away. I thought it would all be over for sure now. But during my freshman year, one of our very close friends that we shared committed suicide. So I came home to attend the funeral. Of course, he was there as well. I had no choice but to be nice to him and professional while we were there. After the funeral, everyone was going to one of my other friends' house for a little get together and reunion. I didn't want to go, but my friends convinced me otherwise. The whole entire time I was there, my ex was trying to talk to me. I was being polite, but I would try to avoid him. He was right next to me all night, trying to kiss me, put his arm around me, and whatever he could get, really. Someone at the party asked me if we were back together, and of course the whole room looked and turned directly at us. I said no, of course not, and stormed out. He got my number from someone somehow at the party and started texting me and calling and texting and calling and leaving voicemails with the same old sob stories all the time. This continued for 5 years. I ended up moving out of state and I quit talking to everyone from back home, apart from a very select few amount of people that I wholeheartedly trust. The phone calls have finally stopped, hopefully for good. I still get anxious whenever I go back to my hometown and worry that I'm going to run into him again one day. One day I was crossing the street on my way home from campus, and there was a car stopped at the stoplight. The driver yelled out the window and asked if I wanted to party with him. I ignored him as I continued walking down the street. After walking for 2 blocks, the car drove up past me, did a 3-point turn, then pulled up onto the curb to stop me from walking. The driver then stepped out of the car, along with another man who was in the passenger seat. They asked me what my name was and asked again if I wanted to party with them. They were drinking, and they were apparently celebrating their friend's birthday, who was drunk off his butt in the back seat. They then all kept being even more persistent with me that I go party with them. This went on for a while, with them asking over and over and me rejecting them over and over. It obviously didn't need to last that long, but my first instinct was to keep it as peaceful as possible since they already had a lot to drink. And I know more than anyone that drunk people can be really unpredictable and that things could turn very badly very quick if I started being too aggressive. I managed to walk away from them when a car came up behind them and started to honk at them to move. It was a one-way residential road and the car couldn't go around because of oncoming cars. So I walked down a sketchy alleyway while they were figuring out the road situation in hopes that I would lose them. My sorority was just down the street, so I didn't want them seeing where I lived. I almost made it home, and I was pretty sure that I lost them, but as soon as I started walking up the steps to where I was staying for the time being, I heard a honk behind me and a car engine rev up and speed up to me. And of course, it was those same guys who were just harassing me. "Hey, where you going?" the driver said. "Party's this way." I opened my door and walked in quickly, slammed it shut, and locked it. Thankfully and ironically enough, there was actually a police officer sitting across the street, witnessing everything that just happened. He pulled the driver over and started to question him. The driver ended up getting arrested for driving under the influence, and the other two in the car were free to go. I told the officer everything and that they were all harassing me. I also thanked him for his help. I just hope they don't come back. And I also hope they don't remember where I live. I don't live alone though, so that's always good, as we all know there is safety in numbers. But that doesn't necessarily stop me from losing sleep over my anxiety about the whole ordeal.